Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Nolan Olm. If you guys don't know what I do already, I'm an online fitness professional. And today we're going to be talking with one of the most incredible transformations we've had in our community, in our program so far. We got Austin on today. So we're just going to have a little conversation, talk about what his experience has been like in the program and just get after it. So, Austin, tell everyone a little bit about yourself, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. Currently a financial planner, lifelong athlete. I played college hockey. Really played hockey my entire life, all the way through college. A little bit of semi-pro after, but yeah, currently doing some financial planning and crushing it with you and the rest of the Make It Happen team.
Yeah, let's go. So, Austin, like, give everyone a rundown. Like, where were you at before we jumped into the program?
Yeah, so personally, I was in between careers. So had some kind of personal turmoil going on, if you will. Kind of got to that point where it's gut check time. Fast forward a couple months, reached out to you, obviously, kind of just got really tired of procrastinating with it. I've always been interested in it. But yeah, I just kind of got to that point where it was either, put up or shut up, kind of so to speak.
Yeah.
And my energy was low. I was eating healthy, but I wasn't being intentional with it. Really just doing the same workouts, kind of, the weights, cardio here and there, but really I what my vision and my goals for myself weren't aligned with my actions, I think was my biggest thing.
Right.
Again, I wasn't an unhealthy person. I've always, like I said, just being a lifelong athlete and playing high level hockey, that's got to come with some sense, excuse me, of a healthy lifestyle. But I felt stuck ultimately at the end of the day. So.
Right. Right. And then just talk to me about like what have you done differently in this program? How has the experience been? I mean, we can go back to we first got on in January, right? And like you said, you
Yeah.
were in that spot and we jumped right into, eating more calories, which is probably like, okay, what are we doing? We're eating more. But just talk to everyone about that beginning phase and what we did differently, like I said, that maybe you hadn't done in the past.
Yeah, well, I mean, that first 2 weeks was huge, right? We call it the detox phase, right? Kind of flushing your system of maybe, some of the quote unquote bad habits that I had.
Yeah.
Whether it be too much caffeine, even, something simple as not enough sleep. So really being, again, I'll probably say it a million times, just being intentional with each facet of my life, the sleep, the recovery, the training, the eating, all of that, right? Like you said, I expected to come in here and, really get strict with my eating. Well, it was honestly kind of the exact opposite because when you're eating the right things at the right times, you're actually eating a lot more. So honestly, I might have been eating the same, if not more, than I was prior to joining the program,
Yeah.
which was crazy. It was quite an adjustment. And then in terms of the training, I think that the biggest thing that I was lacking was the functional movement piece of it. I'd show up, I'd warm up, I'd stretch a little bit, but I wasn't I wasn't stretching properly. I wasn't, again, just being intentional with my stretches. I was showing up, rolling out, and that was about it, right? And so I think that, yeah, again, the biggest thing was the movement piece to it. I wasn't just lifting. I was, I was really kind of exposing that's a great way to put it. The first part of the program, I was exposing everything that I was doing incorrectly. I hate to use the word wrong, but I wasn't doing it correctly.
Yeah.
So I think that was one of the biggest things that you opened up my eyes to was just where I was lacking, and then that really set the foundation for me moving forward. Is like, okay, I know my way around the gym, but do I know my way around the gym that's going to get me to where I want to be,
Right.
right? And I don't think I was at the time, and that's completely 180 from even just what 4 months ago, right? When we started. It's almost 4 months to the day, I think, that we started somewhere around there. So yeah, that was the biggest thing, was just figuring out what those bad habits or the habits that I wanted to change were, like having kind of a coming to Jesus with myself about it,
Yeah.
through our conversations and through those first couple weeks of the program. so that I didn't repeat those same mistakes
Yeah.
throughout the rest of the program. So I really could progress and learn and take that stuff for life. Cause that was my biggest thing was I came into this with the mentality of this might be 4 weeks. Excuse me, this might be 12 weeks. Shoot, I might extend it longer. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be taking this stuff for the rest of my life. And that was super crucial for me. And my success in the program was, okay, really buckle down, excuse me, dive in and be willing to learn.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then great, it's 12 weeks. And then maybe I go back to the same habits and just completely ruin all that progress I made. So
Yeah. Incredible.
yeah.
And so a huge part of our program too, like, where a lot of those gains came was, in some times where, you're transitioning, learning, different things with this job that you're getting into, also going
Yeah.
on trips. So talk to me about like how are you able, because a lot of people have these issues, right? Like these challenges come
Yeah.
in life, these problems come up in life. And then, for a lot of people, excuses. I got a trip. How are you able to navigate these things? I know we had a ton of talks, but like you got
Yeah.
progress throughout a quote unquote like one of the busier times of your life, right?
Yeah. To be honest, this is, and I'm in my early 30s. This is easily the busiest I've ever been, personally, professionally, obviously physically. Um, a ton of challenges came with it, but I had a conversation with myself before I even started this. Are you going to do it or are you going to half-ass it, right? Like, pardon my French, but like that was my biggest thing was I knew that if I came into this with the mindset of, oh, I've got this planned here, I've got this planned here, I'm starting a new job, like I knew I wasn't going to have 100% commitment to it if I came into it with that mindset. So my first step was I had that conversation with myself at the beginning. And I was just really intentional with my schedule. I obviously our conversations, I laid it out. Hey, this is what my schedule looks like. I'm committed to this, but can we work within this schedule? Like there's got to be, and I'm a big work-life balance person in general. I'm not going to sacrifice my efforts with you just because I have a trip planned. I'm going to figure out a way to incorporate our program or your program, the stuff that we were working on.
Yep.
And it might look a little different than it would when I'm at home and I have, all the resources that I normally would, but I'm still gonna commit to incremental change and putting in that effort when maybe I don't feel like it or like I said, I'm busy. And on the professional side, people that excel in the professional world do hard stuff outside of their 9 to 5 or
Yeah.
their 10 to 6 or whatever it is. I fully believe that the highest performers in the world, yourself, some of our other mutual friends that we grind with, those guys aren't just putting in effort at work. They're putting in time physically, with their nutrition, with their families. Like you find the time for things that matter to you. And
Mhm.
ultimately, this mattered to me a great deal. And so ultimately it's have the conversation with yourself. Are you willing to, sacrifice a night out with friends so that you can get that workout in that you weren't able to get in during earlier in the day because you had, a heavy workload at your 9 to 5? Or, are you willing to maybe, skip a weekend trip or modify your plans for that trip so that you can get your meals in, so that you can get a workout in, so that you can get your steps in, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's just having the conversation with yourself, and then once you're in it, just communicating with you, like the amount of flexibility that you showed, while also holding me accountable, was probably the biggest combination to my success when I was traveling or when I was, literally at the office for 12 hours a day. So that was huge for me. But
Very
yeah,
cool. Yeah, and what has it been like implementing some of these, higher level strategies like, the refeeds that we've done or like the metabolic priming before, your cutting phase and then even the
yeah,
deload weeks and like you said, the functional movement. Like talk to me a little bit about like how that's been, right? Because it's probably a lot of, different things you haven't done before.
yeah. So I mean, obviously, I came into it with a couple different injuries, right? Some of which I've dealt with for my lifetime. some of which have come up over the last year for various reasons. So I think the biggest thing, again, just goes back to the communicating that way, right? Like you're going to be able to make adjustments
Yeah.
due to, different circumstances, right? Um, I think the biggest thing for me was setting expectations with myself. Okay, hey, if this, let's say this functional movement, I haven't used those muscles in a while due to this injury. Okay, we're gonna baby step it, right? We don't have to be, the top dog or go, balls to the wall, right away, right? Like work towards it and communicate it and track it. And I would take notes in my journal on how stuff felt the first time I did it. And then we come back around to that second, circuit or that second round, excuse me, of that movement.
Yeah.
Okay, compare how did it feel this time? Did I feel looser? Was the pain a little bit more manageable? The recovery, so on and so forth. So really just holding myself again accountable to, okay, if you're gonna do this stuff, then take 5 minutes after your workout or during your workout. You're on your phone during your workout because you're tracking it in the app. You're
Yeah.
listening to music. Take 5 minutes or 2 minutes, 30 seconds to put that in there, so that I can communicate that with you, right? So that's on the workout, the movement side of things. I think the biggest thing with, the refeeds was we had some pretty significant changes in my calories, right? We went from, 1700 to 2000, 2400 and back down. And so that was, when we first started, I was 17, when we got to 1700 the first time, got really hungry, right? I'm like, okay, I don't know if I can do this. And then 2 days later, your body adjusts, like you said, the metabolism kind of resets. Um, and then, similarly, excuse me, but on the other side of the spectrum, when we go up for the refeeds, I'm like, bro, I can't eat this much anymore. My body's not used to it. But I trusted you, right? It's that communication piece. Like, hey, why are we doing this? Because I obviously have being working in the fitness industry a little bit prior. I had some knowledge,
Yeah.
but not nearly to the level of you. And so I can never stress the importance of the communication piece of it, because I didn't know why and why we were doing it and the timing of it and the significance of it towards my progress. And we did that 2400 calorie refeed for a couple days, and I put on a couple pounds of muscle, but I stayed just as shredded.
Yeah.
And it didn't just, but again, I don't know that I would have been able to fully buy into that idea of that significant of a refeed if I didn't ask and I wasn't engaged with you on the process. Because otherwise I'm just like, maybe he's just telling me 2400 because I've been, in that cut phase for a while, and I should be good with 2000 today, right? Like I just didn't have time or whatever it is, right? Whatever excuse. Again, humans, I think the one thing that we all do really well, more of us than others, is procrastinate and make excuses. And that's what I did. Again, going back to before the program,
Yeah.
I did way too much of that, and it really showed. I mean, you've seen the side by sides from when we first started and where we're at now, and you sent me that last night, and I was like, hey, I'm never going back to that guy. He doesn't look happy. He doesn't look motivated. And at the time, I knew that I was in a bit of a rut, but I didn't truly ever appreciate what I was capable of until we got into this program and really got going. And it wasn't just a physical thing, it was my energy, my attitude, my relationships with my friends and family, my work ethic, and my confidence in the office, starting a new career in financial planning, where I'm sitting there telling people, hey, we got a plan for the worst. Let's be healthy, so on and so forth, right? Like, let's look towards the future and make those incremental steps to be there. And I can say that with confidence now, not only because I just have that much more energy, that much more focus, that much more drive because of how I'm physically feeling, but like people see that if you're willing to put in the effort outside of your 9 to 5, even just my coworkers, like there's that much more respect that you get as somebody who's a hustler, somebody who is really getting after it and trying to get themselves to their fullest potential. Because I can easily say being a college athlete and a high level hockey player, even before that, my entire life, that I've never been this confident and this good a shape. And like I said, I'm in my early 30s, and I used to think that I was the bee's knees physically, all that good stuff, right? Like I had that. And somewhere along the way, it fell off. And like I said, the only thing that I wish I would have done differently is start this program sooner. Because I mean, I just don't know why I let myself, like I said, make those excuses for that long and say, this is not the right time. Life's too busy. I got some fun stuff planned that'll take away from it. Whatever it is, you can have an excuse, a page of excuses a mile long. But again, at the end of the day, the thing that got me over the edge was just me versus me.
Yeah. Wow. And so talk to us about, I know you talked about it a little bit there, but dude, you
Yeah.
are shredded right now. Like
Thank
shredded.
you.
And really
Thank
like,
you.
the even just the 2 week difference in photos is incredible. Tell us
Stupid.
about the shape that you're in and like how pumped you were when we got those progress photos last weekend.
Man, I can tell you that when we first started, and obviously because there's gaps in it, with those first couple weeks, I took the first progress photo and I saw him and I didn't want to take any more after that. So that was again me versus me. I was like, I'm just gonna put my head down and grind, and that's a good mentality. But if you're not holding yourself accountable to even just taking a picture of yourself, I wish, again, looking back, I wish I would have done it so that I could have them side by side by side. Unfortunately, there's a little gap in there, but I mean, it's crazy. I used to something as simple as not even wanted to like check myself out in the mirror for a while there. Like, I'd turn the light off in the bathroom and just walk out after, a shower or whatever, right? And that's not a fun spot to be in. It wasn't, the confidence wasn't there. Again, I was ashamed of making the excuses. Shit, now all I want to do is look at myself, not to be vain, but man, it feels so good. Like, I mean, those first couple core workouts that we did, I could barely get through one set of the core circuit that we had.
Yeah.
Now I can crush it, no problem. Could probably get, halfway through, or maybe a second one done, maybe not to the level that I did the first one, but we could still get there, right? I'll do an extra set of whatever, insert core exercise here, just because it feels so good to have not only the abs again, but just the whole my entire core is just, yeah, it's insane. And I was looking at the pictures that you sent over of even just that 2 weeks there, and obviously the ones before that, but I've got definition everywhere that I didn't. I'm like, oh, that's a fun new muscle that I haven't seen in a while. Like it's honestly addicting in the best way.
Yeah.
I mean, not only, just the self-confidence, but the compliments that people give you, people coming up to me, hey, how'd you do this? Well, one, I hired an amazing coach, and two, I put in the freaking work, right? Like, I mean, I know a ton of people in the past that have hired coaches or done programs, but they don't put in the work. Like, you can give us everything that we need, from nutrition to workouts to one-on-one coaching to meal plans, all that different stuff. But if we're not willing to make the sacrifices and put in the work, like, obviously it's going to show. And thankfully mine shows in a good way,
Yeah.
right? That I put in that work. So again, obviously I wouldn't have been able to do it without you and the rest of the community, but yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I'll just say it again, it's addicting in the best way, getting this shredded. And yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, in the short period of time that I did, right? And I've been working out and lifting for the last, 10, 15 years. And like I said, been an athlete my entire life. And I like to look at it as I took out the trial and error by having you as my coach. Like, I didn't have to spend the time researching all this different stuff, because anything on the web nowadays you get a million answers for one question, right? Um, And so I think that I just basically sped up. Maybe I might have not ever gotten in this good a shape or learned this much. And if I didn't dive headfirst into the program and really buy in. And there was some, like you said, there were some times where I was working 12-hour days, super busy, had trips. And I think the biggest thing that you told me was it's okay to, stumble on this journey, but as long as you're not letting it compound and become another habit like you had when you came in, then there's bumps in the road. That happens. That's life in general, not just with this program. We all know that, but um, I was always committed to no matter what I have going on. I don't care if I have to do a modified workout at home because the gym's not open, or if I have to go for a walk in the dark to get my last steps in, whatever it is, I am committed to doing this. And it's not an addition to my life. It's part of my life.
Hmm.
So if I set that expectation, that standard for myself, that this is my life, this is not something I'm doing on the side. This is because, like I said, I came into this with the want for the knowledge that I could bring again, just for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
So if you commit to it being this is my life, this is a part of who I am now. Obviously, if that's what you want, then this is how I like to look at it: is this is a part of my life. This is who I am. This is not something I'm doing on the side. This is not, a cool thing to tell my friends about or to say that I did it. This is who I want to be from now on.
Yeah.
So I
That's
think that's the biggest thing.
yeah. Well, and like you said, man, it's like there's so many people that are just making noise out there. And the
Yeah.
thing, like you said, like we work in principles and the strategies behind it, and there's no cookie cutter approach. And I think that's the
Hmm.
biggest thing where some people get in their own way. Man, like last couple questions here, like
Yeah.
what were some of the hesitations that you had, before joining the program?
Ooh, that's a good question. Well, again, I think just the easy one right off the gate we've already kind of touched on is just the life's busy thing,
Yeah.
right? But at the end of the day, like I said, there's never an opportune or a perfect time, I guess is the better word, to completely flip your life upside down in a good way.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be uncomfortable. There's gonna be some times again where you have to make sacrifices. So I think that and again, before I even had spoken with you on that initial call, I think it was just the the time aspect that I thought it would be like this is going to take over my life. I'm not going to have time for anything else. I'm not going to be able to eat anything ever again. I'm not going to be able to go out for a happy hour with my friends or whatever, right? So I think that was the big thing. I think the other thing was just the uncertainty, not knowing what I'm going into. And I say that because, I've followed certain, fitness influencers, I guess, if you will, and kind of seen how they, kind of run it. And I guess I kind of, maybe the right word or the way to put it would be I had preconceived notions about what coaching was, whether it was something I saw online, heard from a friend. Um, and so I think that people have, again, a preconceived notion, and I know I did, about, again, just not going to be able to eat anything. The workouts are going to be, way out of my comfort zone. Maybe, again, obviously well before I met you, is he going to understand the injuries that I have from hockey? Is he going to be understanding if I need to move a workout or that I need flexibility with my busy schedule kind of thing? And again, I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. The biggest thing is just communication, not only on that initial call or when you first joined the program, but and again, I'm guilty. I'll hold myself accountable. There's been some times where I haven't been great with it. Um, and that's just when you recenter yourself and remind yourself why you're doing it, and that yourself and the rest of the team that we have, or the family that we have, we're all here for each other. We're all celebrating each other, and you don't succeed if I don't succeed, I don't succeed. If you don't, it's like a mutual relationship, right? Like we're all in this together. And I think that was another one, is just like the uncertainty aspect of it was another big thing for me.
Right. Yeah, and I'm still sending you the text every day, even when you don't
Yep.
respond, and I'm always here, man,
Yep.
judgment free, because I
Yeah.
get it. I get how
Yeah.
life goes, and I think a lot of people don't like you guys are like we all have stuff going on, and I know that,
Yeah.
especially when you made the commitment, and we always, come back around. I make mistakes too. Like we're all learning and
Yeah.
improving our game daily. My last
100%.
question to you, Austin, before we get out of here,
Yeah.
what would you say to someone who's on the fence or is watching these videos? They watch all my videos, they're in the shadows
Yeah.
and they're struggling in this cycle, kind of similar to where you were at, before you joined the program. What would you say to them?
Ooh, put me on the spot. So going back and talking to myself little over a month ago, um, I would just say if you're on the fence, then you've got to be at least curious, right? Have that initial conversation with Nolan. Let him know what your vision is, what your goals are, um, and then have a conversation with yourself. Like, do you want to keep living? What's the word I'm looking for? How do I phrase this? Do you want to keep living in the kind of the cycle, just get kind of stuck in the wash, kind of going in the same thing over and over and over again, and not reaching your full potential, like where you want to go? Like all of us high performers, anybody that follows you has got to be curious in bettering themselves, right? Um, I think that anybody who watches you know that you're an intense guy, you're a passionate guy, and you bring that into us. And we feed off of that. I know I feed off of that. I'm watching your videos at 4:30 in the morning when I wake up from the gym, and I'm like, all right, shit, let's go.
Let's go.
Um, but ultimately, I think that anybody who wants to become a part of our family, I think they just need to dive in head first. Have that conversation with yourself. Hey, this is who I am now. Whether it's for 12 weeks and you find out it's not for you, spoiler alert, guarantee you that won't be the case, because you're going to get in the best shape physically, mentally. It's going to pour into all aspects of your life. Um, but have that conversation with yourself. This is me. This is going to be who I am, and hopefully who you are for the rest of your life. You're going to be bettering yourself every day. You're going to be setting standards for yourself instead of succumbing to your feelings when you have tough days, when you have hard days, when you have long days. And then be curious, like reach out, ask questions. I mean, you're always so willing to take time for us, and you're a Division I athlete. You're a busy guy, and you have your own journey, your own goals. You still take the time for us. There's other people in this group. Bounce ideas off of each other. Like, join the program, embrace it for what it is, and take advantage of everything that you have available to you. Because very few groups that I've been a part of, whether it's in a professional or personal or coaching capacity, have the kind of support that we have here. And thankfully, I get to take what I've learned so far and what I'm going to continue learning with you in the next couple of weeks and into the future. And I get to take that with me for the rest of my life. And I get to be physical proof, not just my words, physical proof of what buying in and making it freaking happen does. Right? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, come on. Like, I'm sure when you're sharing this video, you'll post up the pictures and stuff like that. Like, that's just getting started, y'all. Like,
Yeah.
we're gonna dial it in even that much further. And just don't take my word for it. Like, we got a whole team of killers.
Yeah.
Everybody has different goals. Like he said, it's not one size fits all cookie cutter approach. Be straight up with what you want to do, what your goals are, what your vision is for yourself. And Nolan and the team will lay out brick by brick from day one till day whatever you decide, and you'll get there incrementally. And as long as you're, again, communication and the efforts there, I don't see any way that with Nolan's program that you're not going to be successful.
Incredible. I really appreciate that, man. It's been incredible doing this with you, and there's nobody else that I'd, rather do this with. And man, like I said, you are shredded, and I know it's just the beginning. And
Yes,
killing
sir.
it with the job, everything. So I
Yep.
appreciate you, Austin. If you're somebody who's struggling, and you're looking to get real results like that Austin was talking about, join a community that actually cares about you. We can get on a call, click the link down below. If not, go follow me on Instagram, and you can just see more and more client wins until you're ready to make that decision. We'll see if you're a good
Yeah,
fit. And
just
yeah,
go click it. Just go click it. Don't wait.
there you go. Very good. Okay, well, I appreciate all you guys. Like, subscribe, putting out more videos to give you guys value, more client interviews like this with incredible people, and we'll keep making it happen. Appreciate you guys.